She was drunk and naked, and I'm sitting on the sofa with my jeans around my ankles with a rapidly deflating hard-on. Ask Reddit on Reddit Rundown. What is the dumbest thing you have done while horny? A girl asked me over during the daytime, but I didn't have a smartphone with Google Maps, so charted the course to her house onto a huge town map I found in my parents' house. Was walking the streets for about an hour holding this huge map trying to find my way. I felt like Bilbo Baggins. Edit. Thanks for all the comment, love, and sorry for not giving a conclusion to the tale until now. I arrived eventually and actually made it into her room where we started making out. We got to the point where we were grinding on each other and started removing clothing when her brother came home, and I had to spend a good couple of hours sat in the living room pretending I was just a friend and not there for sex. As soon as he went back out, we did it as quick as possible and I started my journey back home. I ended up making out with and going home with an attractive but completely crazy woman who used to hang around our local bar. Back at her place, she puts on her Lauryn Hill CD, strips completely naked, attempts to dance provocatively, we were both pretty drunk, and starts giving me a BJ. It was at this point her 18-year-old son wandered into the lounge and started protesting violently about what was going on. She tells him to F off and huge argument erupts between them. Remember, she's drunk and naked and I'm sitting on the sofa with my jeans around my ankles and a rapidly deflating hard-on. I came to my senses, zipped back up and got out of there. Apparently, she's currently doing time for violently assaulting and attempting to stab her boyfriend, so I think I got off pretty light. Didn't have a car at the time. My dumbass walked 4 miles to hers at 2 in the morning. Called multiple times, she was dead asleep. Dragged my blue balls another 4 miles back and cried myself to sleep. Unprotected sex on her period. Broke up the next week. She slept with a guy the day after. Got pregnant. Spent 9 months not knowing who the dad is. Prenatal tests illegal in my country. Wear protection, boys. Somebody replied. So? Who won the prize? OP responded. I am not the dad. High five. I had 9 months of sleepless nights, stress, anxiety, COVID and hoping for a good outcome. I didn't tell my family. I'm an expat and didn't want them worrying about me. So, I kept it as a secret from them. Thank God I didn't have to announce any surprises. I'm also finishing off my PhD. I ended up missing key presentations because I couldn't function for a few months. We were supposed to move in together, so I had already given up my apartment's 2-month notice and found a replacement for me. I had to deal with all that and find a new place in a city that is notorious for being difficult to find apartments in. On top of that, crippling depression. I actually started dating someone else a few months after this whole thing. Unfortunately, we broke up recently and I'm still in love with her, not pregnant, she's moving cities. Not me but my brother. He stuck it into the nozzle of a milking machine on the farm. He was 14 and it bruised the hell out of him. The swelling was bad and he had to show dad. He was okay but the rest of us thought it was funny. You can bet we milked it for all it was worth. Helped a hot coworker stalk her supervisor. I'm in my early 20s working a small warehouse job for the summer in my hometown. I've got the awkward hots for this older woman, Tina, none of these names are real, who just seems so much out of my league that I don't even try. One day we've got a bit of banter going and before I realize what I've done, I ask if she wants to hang out. She asks if I have a car, I do, she says yes. So, we're hanging out at her place, she's telling me stories that are like holy shit and the beers are going fast. Then she gets a bit of a lost look in her eyes, goes quiet, and then asks if we can go for a ride. We're out driving around. She's telling me how she used to go driving every night but got a DUI hanging over her for another few months. Then she starts giving me direction on where to go. A bit later we're in a cul-de-sac and she tells me to park and points out a spot. Cool, we're gonna make out, I think. Instead, she just sits there staring at this one house. Looking in the front window I see Bill, again, not his real name, our supervisor. Holy shit, what is going on here? She tells me that her and much older Bill used to have a thing but he refused to leave his wife and kids. that he has totally ghosted her because he thinks she's too obsessive, but she can't stop thinking about him. I hear red alert go off in my head and I get the car started. She turns to me, looks me straight in the eyes, and start undoing my pants. I turn the car off. For the next half hour, we just sit there silently staring straight ahead at Bill's place while she gives me a slow hand job, eventually finishing me off with a blow job and me driving her home. So, we ended up doing this for the rest of the summer. Never had sex, her pants never came off, never kissed. September came and I left town for my next semester at uni. I dyed my hair black. My roommate was dyeing his hair black and the girl who was helping him was ridiculously hot. When she was done helping him, she came into our living room and sat down next to me on the couch wearing short shorts and a light green tube top. She just watched me play video games before just turning to me and running her hands through my hair and saying, "You know, we've got some dye left, I bet you would look really hot with black hair." So, while completely forgetting I had gotten an allergic reaction the last summer from a henna tattoo, I looked straight at her amazing body as she was running her hands through my hair and said, "That sounds like a great idea." She was right, it looked good, but the second day, my head was itchy, the third day, my scalp was red, and the following day, I woke up and I couldn't open my right eye. I reached up to touch my face, and my hand reached my face before I thought it would. When I looked in the mirror, I screamed. The best description I can give is I looked like that orc from Return of the King. The one who says the age of men is over. So, like that, but with a full head of Elvis black hair. It took a full month, on medication, for the swelling to go down. Though the girl did come over quite often to smoke with me a bunch while I looked like freak. Tried to bang a jar of grape jelly. Was really excited to try it all day when I got home, because I had stolen it that morning at my bus stop at the convenience store and kept it in my backpack all day. I could barely get my clothes off fast enough when I got home and immediately went to work. Obviously, it didn't work, and just as I was getting ready to give up, my parents came home early and surprised me. I had no time to clean anything up, so I just balled up the whole mess into an undershirt and shoved it under my bed, and just pulled my boxers and shorts up over myself still covered in jelly and greeted my parents as naturally as I could. Ended up having to interact with them in the kitchen for at least 30 minutes, as everything in my shorts was drying and setting and adhering to everything else, and the stench of old, dry, barely fucked jelly was all I could smell. I even made and ate a PB&J while we were talking, because I was so paranoid about the jelly smell. It would have honestly been a horrible experience even if I just tried it and failed without them coming home, but the extra shame that came with having to just sit in that filth like that stayed with me for weeks. 0-10 would not recommend. Fell in love. Worst attempt at a one-night stand ever, been together 3 years now. Somebody replied, "Lol, this girl was just turning 30. Was a sexy-ass nurse who's 5 feet 11 inches with shoes on, and just prefect. I was 21, 5 feet 7 inches and had somewhat of a high school education with a diploma. She just wanted to have some fun with me. Joke's on her, I'm a sweet motherfucker and a gentleman. Guys had never opened doors for her, or complimented her as much as I did. She messed up and fell in love. Just had our 13th wedding anniversary, 15 years of being inseparable. For the record, when I just saw her from across the room, I knew she was way out of my league, but I had this overwhelming feeling that I was going to marry her. Thought icy hot cream would make an acceptable lube for jerking off. Spoiler alert, oh this is interesting. Wait. No. Ouch. Hot ouch. In my defense, I was in my teens at the time. Somebody replied. Some guys in middle school did this before a football game. They started to cry during halftime. One of the coaches asked what was wrong and one of the guys said he cried because he loved football so much. Drove 30 miles to pick a guy up, drove him back to my house. Took my clothes off and he was half naked before he went, "Yeah, I'm not feeling it, can you drive me home?" Drive 30 miles back to his house and drove 30 miles back to mine. Spent $50 filling up my gas tank. He didn't offer any gas money. Somebody replied. Do you happen to drive an excavator? $50 for 120 miles is a lot, lol. Once I did this girl that I had been dating for a while, on the beach while there were people walking up along the shore. Didn't even bother to stop. I had to finish first. Awkward moments ensued, of course. We tore out of there like fools, smiley face. Another time, same girl, in an elevator. Of course, we hit the stop button first. We inconvenienced some people on the bottom floor. When we were done, we got dressed in a hurry, pulled the stop button, and when the elevator opened, we ran out, exclaiming, "God! The damn elevator had us stuck in here." And kept on running. My God, the early 90s were great. My high school sweetheart and I used to take a long lunch then head back to my place. My single mom is always at work. We would bang like crazy and usually end up skipping AP English. Best college credits ever wasted. One day my mom was home from work for some reason, so instead of foregoing our usual lunch routine, our dumbass, horny selves went up to the local lovers lane. Really bad idea as all the cops knew about this lane and they frequently patrolled it during school and curfew hours. Anyways, we get caught going at it like wildebeest by an officer and both get taken back home to explain to our parents what we had been caught doing. Luckily for my girlfriend, her parents already knew what we are up to and didn't mind as much. Jokes at our expense was the worst of it. As for me, my mom was off the chain pissed and decided I had too much freedom. All of my free time quickly disappeared into oblivion. It was worth it. Thanks for listening to Reddit Rundown. Give a thumbs up and subscribe, and help me get to 1,000 subs. Leave a comment below on what kind of topics or stories you would like to hear. You can also check out other videos on my channel. Thanks and have an awesome day.